Without mentioning words, this morning we have a special stakeholders engagement, a roundtable discussion on National Open Science Dialogue and presentation of Regional Open Science Report. Thank you for the daylight. We like it this way. This will be chaired by Professor A.G.E.N.D.A Abdullahi, Director General of the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Please, with a loud round of applause, put your hands together for Professor A.G.E.N.D.A as he makes his way upstage. Director General, Ghana Tertiary Education Commission. Let's be kind to keep the applause on before he gets there, please. We can do it better, right? Let's keep doing it. Can keep doing it? Come on. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Good morning. I think the morning is good. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the objective of this panel discussion is to look at open science initiatives in the country of Morocco and the African continent, and to create a space for advocates of open science to mobilize community at large around the need for and the benefits of open science and discuss in practical terms the steps needed to address challenges and roadblocks. The expected outcomes of this morning's section is to look at actionable insights on how to further promote open science principles and practices through collaboration and knowledge sharing in the research community, and also strengthen partnerships and engagement between Moroccan institutions and global open science stakeholders. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to read a brief memorial statement to honor and dedicate the Moroccan Open Science Dialogue to the late Miss Ndoumou Ndlamini. In loving memory of Miss Ndoumou Ndlamini, dedicating the Morocco Open Science Dialogue to her legacy, as we begin this convening for the Morocco Open Science Dialogue at the 16th AAU Quadrennial General Conference, we start the session by taking a moment to honor the life and legacy of the late Miss Ndoumou Ndlamini, a passionate advocate and tireless champion of open science across Africa. The late Miss Ndoumou Ndlamini served as the Director of ICT Services and Knowledge Management of the Association of African Universities, where she dedicated her career to advancing equitable access to knowledge, strengthening academic collaboration, and empowering African institutions through digital innovation. Her unwavering commitment to the principles of open science, her belief in inclusive knowledge sharing, and her efforts in building digital capacity across African higher education institutions have left an indelible mark on the scholarly landscape of the continent. As partners, it was an honor and privilege to have worked with the late Miss Ndoumou on several impactful innovative initiatives. We fondly remember her leadership, friendship, and unwavering vision for a more open and collaborative African research ecosystem. In her memory, we dedicate the Morocco Open Science Dialogue to honor her legacy with deep gratitude for the inspiration she provided and the lasting contribution she made in advancing open science across the continent. May her legacy continue to inspire our collective efforts. Rest in power, Ms. Ndoumou. Can we please be silent for just 30 seconds? May her gentle soul rest in perfect peace. On that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call upon Mr. Yusuf Toman, the Managing Director at African States Research and Education Network, to provide us with the first keynote address, North African Perspectives in Open Science. Please let's welcome him with a hand of applause.
Thank you. Good morning. Happy to be here in my second home country. I've been here, I love Morocco. I like to be there, and I've been in this fascinating university. This is my first time to this university, but I believe we will work with the university for further cooperation in several aspects, which I will come through. Okay, my name is Yusuf Torman. I'm the Managing Director of the Arab States Research and Education Network. It's the A.G.E.N.D.A. I will speak about open science, but before that, who will be the holding organization or institution that will be doing or responsible for the implementation of open science? I believe A.G.E.N.D.A are among the most important stakeholders to do that. So let me start by, I'd like to thank Professor Ahmed and thanking Nudomo, but also let's not forget also the Boubacar Bari. We lost 2 persons in the last 3-4 months. Boubacar Bari was among the main founders of the research and education networks in Africa. He's my brother actually, and my sister also Nudomo. We have been working together for a long time, so I pray for them to rest in peace. And I tell them that Africa thanks you both. You did contribute a lot to Africa and to us also. So your contributions, your support, your brotherhood, and especially your smile when you meet us will never be forgotten. So thank you and rest in peace. For Morocco, we have the main partner is the CNRST, which is the actual responsible for science and technology and research in Morocco, and it has 2 departments, Marwan, which is the Moroccan Wide Area Network, the Moroccan A.G.E.N.D.A, and we have EMIS also, which is the responsible for, I can't speak in French, it's in publications and scientific technologies. So you will hear more about CNRST and from my colleague who will be on the panel later on. Quickly, I have a long slides, but I will skip some slides. I would like to have the organizers to share it with you if you need more information or more details. Research and Education Network are just dedicated networks to connect research and education institutions together. I can summarize it in this slide to make it short for you. So if you look at this slide, you would see that we have institutions. These institutions are connected to A.G.E.N.D.A, which is National Research and Education Network. You will hear the word A.G.E.N.D.A many times. A.G.E.N.D.A stands for National Research and Education Network. So you will see every country will have A.G.E.N.D.A in place that connects the institutions, research institutions, universities, and so on, hospitals, for example, together into the National Research and Education Network. You will see Marwan there, which is a Moroccan example. Several institutions are connected to this A.G.E.N.D.A, and this A.G.E.N.D.A is connected to the regional one, which is ASRIN. So ASRIN is the regional network for the Arab region. And then all together, you will see Red Clara from Latin America, A.G.E.N.D.A from Europe, Ubuntu Alliance, I think they are our sister organization, and WACRIN are for East and for West and Central Africa, ASRIN and TN for Asia. So they combine all together the Global Research and Education Network. So this is the model that we believe holds the digital infrastructure together with the services that help the A.G.E.N.D.A to work together. For ASRIN, as I said, it's the Regional Research and Education Network. It was started in 2010 with several at the League of Arab States. So we are part of the organizations that we belong to the League of Arab States. The opening was the launch was at the Arab States. That was 15 years ago, almost. Now we have restructure and new look and a new organization, a new vision and so on, which comes like, if you see our timeline, we started with from 2007 and 2010 to establish. It took us 4 years to establish ASRIN and 10 years to have ASRIN stable. And now ASRIN is evolving. In 2024, we doubled our achievements. And in 2025, we will do more and more. We'll bring the region beyond. our logo, our shape. We are now look at the old logo and the new logo and a new vision. And I will not spend much time on this. So our main objectives come to three objectives. The first one is to build the regional network, which we are doing well. We have several projects that will bring this together. I will come to that in a separate slide. We want to contribute also to develop and sustain endurance in the Arab countries. We did that. When ASEAN started, we had, in the Arab region, we had 6 endurance in place. Now we have 14 endurance in place, so we did contribute to the development. And thirdly, it's about services, how we can facilitate cooperations and so on. Now, the main areas of intervention for ASEAN is research, dedicated networks for research and education. As you can see, research, education, and services like A.G.E.N.D.A. I think Marwan is among the leaders in the region who are deploying A.G.E.N.D.A and A.G.E.N.D.A, the federated access and the educational roaming for the researchers. Science cooperation includes open science, includes open access, and service platforms, and so on. Community engagement, we would like to engage with the communities so that we understand their actual needs so that we can better serve them through our platforms and services. We call, sorry for the order of the, I don't know why it's coming that, maybe different versions of PowerPoint. However, we call for science dialogue. Science dialogue comes from, our main pillar for science dialogue comes through science cooperation, open science. We give a special focus, I'm sorry for the order, it's about different versions of PowerPoint. However, we focus on Arab states, research, open science cloud, which I will come to later on. And also we want to facilitate science cooperation through establishing science communities. Our membership, we have several members now. We have 14 Arab Indian are members of ASEAN now. We conducted and implemented several projects, most of them coming from the European Commission, and we look forward to have other sources of funding for our projects. Now, this is a call for Indians that Indians can do a lot for you, so I want you to support them. They can do a lot, like they can be the means or the instrument for achieving science cooperation to achieve United Nations SDGs, and we have a paper on that. The Indians have an important role on that. Earth observation, healthcare. We are in touch with AFRIG, with African Group on Earth Observation, for example. Global Digital Compact comes also with Indians, one of the main implementing organizations to achieve the Global Digital Compact, the same for open science and so on. So I invite you to take care of your Indians and put them in charge. If they are not active, they can do a lot for you. For open science at ASEAN level, actually, we have several partnerships. You see a long list of partnerships. I think this is not the only one, but most importantly, I want to focus on the Association of Arab Universities, which represent the educational arm in the Arab region. I'm talking about regional organization. The Federation of Arab Scientific Research Council that represents research. Together with ASEAN, we call it the Open Science Triangle. That comes from ASEAN for infrastructure and technology and digital infrastructure and services. Education from Association of Arab Universities, and research from Federation of Arab Scientific Research Council. All we have signed MOUs and agreements with them, together with UNESCO. So ASEAN, one of the partners with UNESCO to implement the recommendations of open science. And you will see we have a long list. We are, for example, active member with the European Open Science Cloud. We have partnerships with many organizations, including EMIST, which will be presented today with my colleague from FEDWA from EMIST and Synerist. So you see, there is a lot of effort from our side. We are recognized by several organizations, and we have recently signed with TCC Africa and PLUS, who are here and they are organizing this session, actually. I would like to thank them for that also. So in terms of, we are trying to establish our open science cloud. We already started our own private cloud, which is now we have several services on that cloud. We are trying to follow the European model, OCRI, in our own version of OCRI. It's a procurement mechanism for cloud procurement. It's very complicated, but we are trying to adapt it in our region, together with engaging with commercial and cloud providers like AWS, Sparkle, Google, Microsoft, and so on. So this is the basis where we can serve, make open science available to the community through, especially scientific data, available to the community through our cloud and our platform. We are trying to follow, let me go back to this slide. You can see European Open Science Cloud, African Open Science Platform. These are the regional ones that actually we are trying to be in between. We will work on, we will not be at the level of European Open Science Cloud, but we are trying to learn from European Open Science Cloud and African Open Science Platform to establish the Arab Open Science Cloud. This is something that we would like to focus on science communities so that we can understand what do they need. So these are some examples of science communities or science research facilities that we want to work with. We are already engaged with all of these, and we have some agreements with them. This is another example why we want to demonstrate that intercontinental cooperation. Now we have cooperation between Europe, Latin America, and Africa on open science, on Earth observation. So this model, I think we call it Science Triangle between the three continents, and ASEAN is leading that on behalf of Africa.
2 more minutes.
2?
2 minutes more.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so the Humanity Plus is a project that we are proud. It will support us especially for open science. So we have the, let's say, seed money to establish the Open Science Cloud. Our Arab Open Science Cloud, again, it's something that we want to serve you via this cloud. We sent out the survey for you to help us, to shape us on how to serve you. So for those who are in the North African region, if you like to scan this one and try to fill in the survey, we will be thankful for you. I will leave it for 10 seconds because I have only 2 minutes. So for those who can capture it, thank you very much. Otherwise, it will be available on our website. What about Morocco? Morocco, I think we're doing excellent work. They are a strong partner. What I like to highlight in Morocco, I think that CNRS is one of the most eligible organizations at the national level to hold and to manage the open science recommendations. They are highly engaged, and especially what I like is the government. I've been in touch with the ministry for several times, and they are supporting CNRS to be the leader and the convener and responsible for open science in Morocco. That's a good, to be announced, but I think it's confirmed in terms of my communication with the ministry. A.G.E.N.D.A, I think you will hear from A.G.E.N.D.A. Marwan, also another strong organization, one of the best ENDRINs in the Arab region, strong ENDRIN. They have national research and education infrastructure, HPC and the cloud services that you can rely on. Now, I call on, if there is any governments or universities here, it's time to rely on ENDRINs, it's time to support ENDRINs, it's time to empower ENDRINs. Your ENDRINs are the best instruments for you to serve to develop, actually. What I just mentioned can be done exactly through ENDRINs once they are empowered and they are given the support. The other call, I think this is almost my final slide. Call AAU. Who's from AAU the responsible? I invite AAU again to work to revive the AFRIN issue. We worked on several times with NODOMO on AFRIN, which is the African Regional Research and Education Network. It was established by partnership between UbuntuNet Alliance. I think, I hope I can, we have UbuntuNet Alliance here in the room. I'm not sure if they are here or not. WACRIN, West and Central African Research and Education Network, in addition to ASEAN, together with the Association of African Universities, we will better support research and education in Africa. Finally, this is our last year's conference. It was attended by 30 people in with 55 speakers from 42 countries in 24 entrants. We are expecting a higher level of participation in Amman. AEH25, our annual conference, it will be in Amman, 1st to 3rd of December. You are all invited. You will see that we'll discuss open science thoroughly there, so I invite you to be there. We are conducting also planning with Bibliotheca Alexandria on having next year, 2026 conference in Bibliotheca Alexandria, which I think we are proud of our partnership with them. Also, we are trying to conduct a workshop on November also in Alexandria on open science. We will share it with you if you are interested to invite. We are invited. By this, I thank you, and I hope I did on time.
You'll have to join us on the stage for a panel discussion. I want to apologize to him. I should have told him he had 10 minutes. So our next speaker, keynote speaker, is Joy Owango. She's the Executive Director of the Training Center in Communications, TCC Africa. She'll be speaking on the topic, Outlook on Open Science, Regional Reflections, and Strategic Directions. Please, let's welcome with a hand of applause. Joy, you have 10 minutes.
Thank you. Morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and to welcome you to this important session. And on behalf of TCC Africa, I'd like to thank our partners, AAU, A.G.E.N.D.A, and PLOS, and our host, UM6P, for making this dialogue possible. Since 2021, TCC Africa has been working to support open science adoption across the continent through training, policy support, and stakeholder engagement. And with our partnership with AAU, it has helped deepen this work in over 10 countries, particularly when we are looking at building capacity in open science for higher education institutional leaders. Because we noted, as much as we're talking about open science at policy level, it is really essential to include higher education institutional leaders because they will be the final ones to adopt it within their respective institutions. Today, I'm excited to share key highlights from our Open Science Activities Report that we've worked over the 2 years with the Association of African Universities. And I'm going to showcase the incredible work happening over more than 10 countries that we've worked in. We literally worked in Eastern, Western, Southern, and Northern Africa. I'll also present early insights from the AAU Open Science Stakeholder Survey. What we did is that we wanted to find out, are higher education institutional leaders considering adopting open science despite the capacity building initiatives that we've been conducting with them? And if not, where can they be assisted? So I'm going to share with you what we found out, and that survey was actually based on the registrants who are taking part in this conference. And then we'll also offer a valuable snapshot of the institution's standing, what's working, what support is needed. And these findings reflect a growing momentum, a strong will to act, and clear pathways for advancing open science across the continent. So who are we as an organization? So TCC Africa's programs include open science and advocacy, as I've mentioned, which includes global stakeholder engagement in adopting open science and best practices. We also have an open infrastructure program where we are promoting fair data sharing through the Africa PID Alliance, and we are producing African-originated persistent identifiers for indigenous knowledge and cultural heritage. Capacity building, which focuses on training in scholarly and science communication. Higher education stakeholder engagement, which drives partnerships to develop sustainable solutions. Over the years, we have supported over 39,000 early career researchers to mid-level career researchers in building their capacity in scholarly and science communication, and also in advocating on open science, especially when it comes to training and open access. We've worked with over 80 institutions, training in over 80 institutions, and we have a community membership of over 900 from now 3 continents. About our project on advancing open science in Africa, falling under our Open Science Advocacy Program. We are honored to work with PLOS and A.G.E.N.D.A for representing North Africa, and also Association of African Universities when it comes to building the capacity for higher education institution leaders. Our partnership with the Association of African Universities started in 2022 with the objective of encouraging and in the implementation of open science principles and practices within African institutions, but with the objective of building capacity of higher education institution leaders. As I'd said earlier, as much as we are working at government level or regional government level, the buck stops with the higher education institution leaders. So it was also a mid-level approach in making sure that open science is adopted and accepted by institutions. The collaboration focus is on strengthening open science through training and advocacy, supporting institutional policies and implementation of roadmaps, engaging university leadership for long-term adoption, and also promoting open, inclusive, and collaborative research. With A.G.E.N.D.A, this is a most recent partnership, and this partnership was established this year, and it is a continuous effort on our activities on promoting open science at regional policy level. We started with the East African community in Eastern Africa, and also we are working with ECOWAS so to support the Western African region. So we are truly excited to work in Northern Africa in adopting open science. The collaboration focuses on combining A.G.E.N.D.A's infrastructure, TCC Africa's capacity building, and PLOS's open access expertise in promoting open science in the Northern African region, promoting inclusive and connected scientific systems, focusing on joint advocacy, training, and institutional support. And it aims to advance open science across the region. The first regional open science dialogue we did with A.G.E.N.D.A was held in February, and we are really happy to say that this is the first national dialogue we are hosting together in Northern Africa, with more to come with the partners in North Africa. So, since our launch of our partnership with the Association of African Universities, the Regional Open Science report activity sequence starts with the initiative when we launched it in April 2022. And we had our first regional open science dialogue for higher education institution leaders in East Africa, hosted by the University of Dar es Salaam in July. Then followed by North Africa, where it was hosted by the British University of Egypt, and Southern Africa, where it was hosted by the University of Pretoria in South Africa. And when I say regional, it meant that the respective universities were actually responsible in inviting higher education institution leaders in those regions. So in East Africa, we had all the 7 countries. North Africa, we had the best part of North African countries. And Southern Africa, we had also the best part of the SADC region. In West Africa, it was hosted by, online by the Ghanaian Tertiary Education Commission with the chair as the keynote speaker, and that was held in October 2024. Since its inception, we've successfully engaged over 2,000 institutional leaders, researchers, librarians, and policymakers across Africa. Each activity incorporated capacity building and awareness on open science in order to help create a critical mass of informed policy. These efforts were supported by post-workshop surveys, which provided valuable insights on the participants' roles, and that is what I'm going to share with you, just an overview of that. The report and outcomes bring out from a regional and global influence, they helped shape national, regional, and global science efforts. They also help inform international strategies and priorities. And some of the lessons learned include emphasis on inclusive, localized approaches, and we also identified capacity gaps and lack of supportive policies, even within our institutions. So as much as we are having these conversations at policy level, there is a need for more support with supportive policies within our institutions. As I'd said, out of this, we wanted to still further understand, with all the capacity building that we are conducting, what are researchers, what are the higher education institution leaders saying? What are their thoughts on adopting open science? What are the bottlenecks? So despite the capacity building that we've been hosting, we decided to hold another survey, and I have to be clear that this was only for those who registered for this conference. And we noticed that there were overlaps with what we observed with our surveys, our regional surveys after the workshops. And these surveys that this survey that we conducted is contributing to shaping the themes and priorities that we are going to discuss in this dialogue as well. Because we noticed there's quite a bit of overlap in some of the challenges and also some of the opportunities that have come out. Now, interestingly enough, right now we are more aware of open science. There's a very high awareness on open science, but it's a bit of a double-edged sword. Despite the fact that we are aware of open science, there's still no institutional policy. That is why it is really important that we're having this collaboration with AAU, because they are the drivers of higher education institution leaders in Africa, and they're also driving open science on the continent. So there's a need to have institutional policy, despite the fact that we have high awareness, and it's still not prioritized. Having the institutional policy, it's still not prioritized. So these continuous open science conversations we are having with the higher education institution leaders is essential so that we can change that. And for some, we're also seeing, as I said, it's a double-edged sword, but we're also seeing that in some, we also have institutional policies that are present. So there's also low awareness within the institutions, and the reason that, and what contributes to that is lack of institutional commitment and capacity building. So, as much as we are saying that we do need open science, we are saying that there are still challenges within our higher education institutions, and this is why it is essential to engage our higher education institution leaders such that it is adopted and implemented within our institutes. So the gaps identified between awareness and actual institutional prioritization, as I had mentioned, is really a double-edged sword, and few institutions have open science policies or dedicated support structures. So open science still remains aspirational, but it's not yet fully implemented. That is the reality we have right now, and that is why this capacity building is really important. And out of this, there's a need for continued advocacy, training, and policy development. The barriers we noted was limited awareness among researchers and institutions. That still exists. Inadequate funding for open science initiatives. And we need to come up with novel approaches to supporting it as well. Poor infrastructure, and this is why it's important we are working with NRENs. And as Professor Torman said, we need to rely on NRENs and also work closely with them because they are there to support our infrastructural systems within our institutions. Lack of clear policy and legal frameworks, absence of institutional mandates and national strategies. What are we recommending? We need increased training and capacity building. Open science doesn't end at conversations like this. The continuous capacity building is essential. Collaborative partnerships, strengthen collaboration and academia. We should stop working in silos. We need to work as partners so that we can have one voice when it comes to open science. I keep on saying that open science is the equalizer for all of us in the higher education sector. So we should stop politicizing it. We should stop working in silos, work as one to make sure that we achieve this goal. Invest in digital infrastructure and fair data training, provide incentives and recognition for open science efforts, and we noticed that this was actually the main issue when it comes to the higher education sector. Yes, we're talking about open science, how are we going to incentivize this process? So that's why there's actually a slow uptake on it. And we need to align national policies with global science frameworks. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Joy. So now, following the tone being set, our next step relative to what we are going to be doing today is to look at the conversation focusing on two specific areas. Why open science matters in Africa and the Kingdom of Morocco, and the state of open science in the Kingdom of Morocco, reflections on opportunities and national action plans. To help us do this, I would like to welcome Professor Hannah Lowell of the School of Information Sciences and former advisor to the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Kingdom of Morocco. Please, let's welcome her with a hand of applause. Fadwa El Magori, head of the Moroccan Institute of Scientific and Technical Information and the National Center for Scientific and Technical Research, Kingdom of Morocco. Yusuf is already here, Joy is here. Then Merali Volaj, Regional Publishing Development Lead, PLOS. Dr. Rania Osman, Head of Information, Institutions and Professional Skills. Then finally, Dr. Rania Ibrahim of AOSP North Africa. She's joining online. Okay. Good morning. So our first issue that we want to look at is our understanding of open science within this context. And my question goes to, I think, Yusuf, you being the only man here, you will take it first. Why does open science mean to your organization, and why is it particularly relevant now to Morocco and Africa? Just 2 minutes. Yes.
Hello? Yeah. Well, I'm not a scientist, first of all, so open science for me, it is for me how to serve the community in making science open for them. I mean, when I say community, research, education, and the public also, citizens, we want to make science open for them. So making this open requires a platform and mechanisms. That's why we are here as AAG to do that. This is what, for me, what I'm interested in actually to see. We are access provider, mean access to resources and to data and so on. We want to make this open for them so that they can conduct science. Especially if you look, why do we want to make science open? The United Nations recognized, maybe 1 minute I would do that, recognized the importance of science and science cooperation and science diplomacy and so on. And you see the next phase of SDGs, they are looking for the next decade, the planning, they are talking about 3 pillars: solidarity, sustainability, and science. So recognize that the science is the means for the development of the nature or of life and mankind and so on. So science is the top priority of the United Nations. So we want to make science open also for the community so that we can conduct better science for better life for the mankind in general and for the nature.
Thank you. So I'll repeat the question again. The what and why of open science to your organization. Joy.
Thanks for the question. Open science is about equity. And it goes beyond equity. It's about collaboration. To me, I keep on saying that open science is the one thing that is going to, it's the equalizer for those of us in the global south in giving us a competitive edge with our partners in the global north. It is the opportunity to increase our visibility and change the narrative that Africa produces 0.1% of its research to the global knowledge economy. So it's about collaboration, equity, and equalization when it comes to the kind of activities we're doing.
La science ouverte pour moi n'est pas une question d'accès à l'information scientifique seulement, c'est un choix politique, c'est une question profondément éthique aussi. Et je peux m'arrêter là, la science ouverte, c'est tout simplement donner accès à la recherche scientifique qui est financée par des deniers publics. Tout ce qui est financé par des deniers publics doit être public. Et j'aimerais souligner 4 registres de la science ouverte. Le premier, c'est parce qu'on doit s'aligner sur les recommandations internationales. Le Maroc s'aligne avec la recommandation de l'UNESCO sur la science ouverte qui a été établie en 2021. Deuxième point, c'est l'excellence scientifique et académique. Il y a tellement d'études scientifiques qui ont prouvé que la science ouverte, que l'accès à l'information scientifique et technique permet d'augmenter la visibilité et l'impact de la recherche africaine. Troisième registre, c'est l'intelligence artificielle. Pour qu'elle soit performante, elle doit être alimentée par des données ouvertes, des données qui représentent notre culture, qui représentent notre patrimoine scientifique. Et le quatrième point, c'est la souveraineté numérique et scientifique de nos pays, que ce soit le Maroc ou l'Afrique. Et aussi pour relever les défis du changement climatique, de santé. On l'a tous vécu pendant la période de la Covid où on n'avait pas accès à l'information scientifique et technique. Pour relever ces défis, on a besoin d'accéder à l'information, aux publications scientifiques relatives à tous ces enjeux sociétaux. Donc la science ouverte, c'est une priorité pour renforcer l'impact de la recherche et faire passer le chercheur africain d'un consommateur de l'information à un producteur de l'information pour qu'il puisse participer à la science mondiale. Merci.
Tout d'abord, je vous remercie pour l'organisation de cet événement aussi important. Et merci pour A.G.E.N.D.A, surtout pour l'invitation à participer à ce panel. C'est l'occasion pour partager l'expérience du CNRST dans le domaine de la science ouverte. Alors, donc, je vais définir la science ouverte en relation avec les missions du CNRST. Donc, une des missions principales du CNRST, c'est mettre à la disposition des chercheurs marocains l'information scientifique et technique dont ils ont besoin pour mener à bien leurs travaux, tout en veillant à valoriser, à travailler sur la valorisation et la promotion de la production scientifique nationale pour renforcer sa visibilité et son impact. Du coup, donc, la science ouverte pour le CNRST, c'est un axe stratégique qui permet non seulement de démocratiser l'accès à l'information scientifique et technique et la rendre plus équitable, mais aussi elle permet de renforcer la science et renforcer la transparence de la recherche et de stimuler la collaboration et la coopération entre les acteurs de recherche, les individus et aussi les établissements. Et surtout, elle facilite de faire circuler les travaux de recherche marocains qui améliorent son impact, que ce soit au niveau national, régional, mais aussi à l'international. Donc, pour nous, la science ouverte est très importante parce qu'elle permet de trouver des solutions. Elle permet de trouver des solutions concrètes à des obstacles et à des défis structurels communs entre les différents pays africains, que ce soit au niveau de l'accès limité aux ressources et aux données de la recherche indispensables pour une recherche responsable et sérieuse. Mais aussi, ça permet, Joy tout à l'heure, elle a parlé des inégalités de financement. Donc la science ouverte, elle permet de réduire ces inégalités. Et aussi, elle permet de renforcer la collaboration entre les chercheurs et entre les établissements et aussi entre les différents pays. Et ça résout le problème aussi de la grande dépendance de nos pays aux grands éditeurs. Donc la science ouverte, donc, elle permet de transformer toutes ces contraintes à des opportunités qui permet en misant sur la collaboration, sur le partage des connaissances et surtout sur la mise en œuvre des modèles ouverts, durables, qui permet d'intégrer la recherche marocaine mais aussi africaine dans l'écosystème de la recherche mondiale.
Yes, thank you for the question. Well, at PLUS, we are on a mission to drive open science forward with measurable and meaningful change. That's why we are working on the three most important aspects of open science that are, of course, publishing, research publishing, policy, and practice. And we are trying to do this with our local partners here in Africa, and we are pleased to collaborate with important actors and stakeholders. And we strictly believe that this type of action should come from nationals, from stakeholders in country. Because open science is actually not just about reading an article. It is about the context where the science is developed. It is about the resources that are used, and it's about collaboration. So all of this makes open science equitable, what we are all advocating for more equitable science for researchers and for the society. And I think Morocco is placed in a very important an important place in this ecosystem, because they can actually drive through policies, in-house policies, and they can be a good example for the region and for the whole continent. And we're happy to be here, and we're happy to collaborate and actually to help Morocco government and stakeholders to move forward in advancing open science.
Thank you for the question. And for me, as representing Biblioteca Alexandrina and representing the libraries part, libraries do behind the scene work. This is a part that's not seen for everyone. So what we're helping the researchers in the open science strategy and the open science work, that we help the researchers do their work, enabling the access to the resources. So the first thing that we have the resources. And of course, this is a big job for libraries in the region now. So collaborations with different partners like A.G.E.N.D.A, and of course some universities in Egypt and outside Egypt, and some other partners gave us the strength and the power and the progress and every work that we do to make our resources powerful. And also the digital repository. This is a big part to make our collection seen for all the researchers. So we have a big collection. If it's not seen for the researchers, our work is hidden. So this is a big part of our work in Biblioteca Alexandrina, is to make our repository bigger and accessible. Of course, with the copyright issues and everything, with the open access and all the issues that we have in libraries, which is affecting the open science, because all we do is to help the researchers. And since we are in Biblioteca Alexandrina, a public library and the research library, this is our main job. To make that, because we have also some centers in the Biblioteca Alexandrina that have academic and scientific research, and the library is part of their research. So they have to make full use of the resources and the collections. This is part of the job of the libraries, and Biblioteca Alexandrina is one of the big libraries, and since you are big, you have bigger role to do. What we are focusing on for the coming period is to have more collaboration, have more webinars, and we have a platform which is a model, and we have some curriculums and some with the BNF, because we have a diploma which is DUCIP. So we put our collections and our resources also via our BIFA, which is the BA Services for Africa. So we're trying to help Africa all the time and to have more effect on the researchers in Africa. And this is part of our job, and we're trying hard to make it better. Thank you.
So finally, we hear from Dr. Rania Ibrahim, who happens to be on Zoom. Is she ready?
Yes. Okay, hello, everyone.
So you have 2 minutes, Doc.
Yes, my name is Rania Sayed Ibrahim, Associate Professor in National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Science based in Egypt, and the lead scientist for African Open Science Platform, North African Regional Node. For me, I always say that without open science, you hear me? You hear me? Hello? You hear me?
Hear you. We can hear you. No, go
Yes.
ahead. We can hear you.
I always said that geoinformatics and earth science data are always open, and without open science, there is no remote sensing and there is no geospatial technology, particularly for Africa. So appointing National Authority for Remote Sensing and Space Science as one of the regional nodes of OSP is very important, and we always advocate for open science in North Africa. Open science for me as partnerships and also engaging with the stakeholders is very important in science, for science. Because this enables us to make our resources and our programs are powerful, particularly in collaboration with international organizations like A.G.E.N.D.A and International Science Council, and so on. Also, open science is very important to engage with stakeholders to make science available for all, including policymakers, including decision makers, including other researchers, and also in education in schools. It's very important to make science open and available to all. You hear me? Hello, you hear me?
Yes, but you just have to be winding up.
Yes, so open science is very important. Open science make science inclusive and for all people, and engaging with stakeholders and international organization, the policymakers is also very important to make research findings accessible and available for all stakeholders and the beneficiaries. Thank you.
So my next question will be directed to Ms. Fadwa and Professor Hannah, and I'll plead with you to do it within 2 minutes each. We have a lot to cover. What national instruments on open science is the Kingdom of Morocco working on, and what is your respective role as a policy actor and stakeholder? Any of you can begin, yes.
En fait, au CNRST, nous sommes fortement engagés dans le développement des plateformes et des référentiels d'envergure nationale. Et ça date très longtemps, pas qu'aujourd'hui. Je citerai rapidement trois plateformes d'envergure nationale qui soutiennent le mouvement de la science ouverte. Il y a TUBCAL. TUBCAL, c'est une plateforme des thèses et mémoires qui est censée regrouper les thèses soutenues au niveau du Maroc. Donc, le CNRST prend en charge gratuitement déjà l'aspect technique, donc il est hébergé dans nos serveurs, mais aussi l'aspect de catalogage des notices de ces thèses sur la plateforme pour les rendre visibles et accessibles aux chercheurs marocains. Donc, il y a aussi, toujours dans le cadre de la gestion des thèses, de la littérature grise et la protection de nos chercheurs, donc on a mis en place en 2016 une plateforme Autrohati qui signale les thèses en cours de soutenance, donc les sujets de recherche pour éviter la duplication des sujets de recherche, mais aussi pour encourager la collaboration entre les chercheurs. Ces deux plateformes, on a utilisé des systèmes open source, d'espèces pour les gens qui connaissent la plateforme. Et en 2012, on a lancé, pour renforcer l'édition scientifique électronique, on a lancé le premier portail national d'édition électronique, le PRSM, le portail des revues scientifiques marocaines, un système qui supporte 100% l'open access. Donc, déjà, on a commencé par une seule revue, en fait, 2 revues en 2012 en langue anglaise, en sciences exactes. Maintenant, le portail il héberge plus que 200 revues, tout domaine confondu. Il supporte plusieurs langues et tous ils supportent le libre accès. Sinon, je dirais le libre accès diamant. La majorité des revues, ils sont au libre accès diamant. Donc, ça aide à augmenter la visibilité de notre production scientifique locale et ça augmente la visibilité et ça donne les chances aux auteurs de publier dans des revues locales sans prendre la peine à publier dans des revues internationales. Voilà, ce sont trois instruments d'envergure nationale qu'on a déjà développés, mais on est en train de développer d'autres plateformes. Donc on est en train de mettre en œuvre une plateforme qui supporte les e-books, les ouvrages électroniques, et par la suite, il y aura une autre plateforme pour les données de la recherche.
Merci Fadwa. Le CNRST s'est engagé depuis des années, comme disait mon ami Fadwa, dans la mise en place de dispositifs d'open access. Mais j'aimerais parler de la stratégie nationale d'open science qui a été lancée en 2024, tout récemment, en octobre 2024, pour mettre en place des dispositifs, mais aussi pour renforcer les capacités des chercheurs. Je citerai peut-être 3 piliers fondamentaux de cette stratégie nationale. Et le Maroc a été pionnier au niveau de l'Afrique pour la lancer, parce que c'était un projet sur lequel on travaillait depuis 2 ans, suite à des enquêtes, à des ateliers participatifs, à des dialogues avec non seulement les chercheurs, mais aussi les politiciens, les différents acteurs qui peuvent être impliqués dans un projet Open Science. Donc les 3 piliers, c'est le développement d'une archive ouverte nationale, en plus de tous les dispositifs que Fedwa a cités. On a créé une archive ouverte nationale pour recenser tout le patrimoine scientifique marocain. 2, la valorisation de la recherche dans toutes les disciplines. Ce n'est pas que les sciences et techniques, mais aussi les sciences humaines et sociales, toutes les langues aussi, arabe, amazigh, en plus du français et anglais, et tout un programme de formation. Le ministère avait lancé, en partenariat avec l'ICESCO, un programme récompense pour la formation des jeunes chercheurs. Donc on a commencé par 600 chercheurs et c'est un programme qui continue par la formation de plusieurs centaines de chercheurs par année sur la science ouverte. Donc les 2 instruments phares qui ont été développés, je ne vais pas me répéter, mais c'est l'archive ouverte nationale qui a été développée par des ingénieurs marocains, par des logiciels libres et en partenariat avec l'Université Laval au Canada et d'autres partenaires importants. Et le deuxième projet, c'est les masterclass qu'on a mis en place avec la chaire ICESCO. Il y a une chaire ICESCO au Maroc sur les REL, sur les ressources éducatives libres. Et on organise énormément de masterclass, soit au Maroc, soit en Tunisie, pour sensibiliser les chercheurs. Joy l'a souligné tout à l'heure, il y a une méconnaissance de l'open access dans la communauté des chercheurs marocains ou nord-africains en général. Donc il y a beaucoup de travail de sensibilisation, de formation qu'on est en train de mener avec la chaire ICESCO pour donner ces compétences, transmettre ces compétences aux chercheurs nord-africains. Merci.
Our next line of action, we want us to look at sharing of lessons and innovations, and I want to start with Yusuf. What can Morocco learn from other nations in terms of open science? And how can national or regional stakeholders assist in developing communities of practice on global open science policy? 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm done. You squeezed me on the presentation, actually. I need 2 days to do my presentation. Now, back to the 2 minutes. What's happening in Morocco, actually, we are proud of what's happening in Morocco. Great efforts by our colleague, Dr. Hana and Dr. Khalid Barrada. There was a great job preparing that. And again, it has been adapted by the ministry and announced recently. That's very good. But how we want to take it further in terms of implementing that, I think, therefore, I try to present that we need an institution, not the ministry itself, to do it. this institution, our recommendation was, I think, to have like scenarists together with its departments that can cover most of the, let's say, stakeholder structure. A stakeholder who can do it, like infrastructure, like services, together with policy and data, access to data, and so on. Very sorry, but I don't want to pass to leave that. We are all facilitators here. What I like from Rania Ibrahim, that she's represents the user, actually, the beneficiary of the open science. So I hope she is with us too, because all of us are just facilitators and enablers, not the user, the actual user who represents the need. So this model, I think we need to take this into consideration when do other events and so on, because they will decide. They want to shape what do they want, and I'm happy with what she presented. Actually, she was the best presenter in the first round of questions. So Rania Ibrahim, thank you for your intervention. Now back to Morocco. We will support Morocco in terms of capacity building, in terms of being part of our activities, in terms of policy engagement and fine line, or like the national roadmap and so on. We are happy to support that also. Sorry. Yeah, that's enough.
To take it down.
Thanks for the question. It's also exciting to hear what the Kingdom of Morocco is doing by the creation of the national strategy, as you had said, Professor Hanai. This is a step in the right direction. And what we have learned with the various countries that we've worked with, what is needed is a national instrument, one that is easily adopted. In some countries, what we've noted is that they are willing to include open science within existing policies. Like in East Africa, it was included for the East African community, it was included within the East African Science and Technology and Innovation Policy, which was adopted and ratified by 7 countries and 7 presidents. And in some, they are looking at having national strategies. So as long as you have a national instrument that can be adopted by everyone within the government, that is the first step. That is what we are learning. What Morocco can learn from other countries and other regions is that make it as collaborative as possible. As Professor Torman said, we are facilitators. We are technical advisors in this process. Work with various stakeholders to make sure it's implemented. As I had shared in my slides, open science, the awareness on open science is high, but it's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword because of the fear of adoption, because of various elements, including incentivization, and also lack of collaborative discussions. So we have a national strategy, and that is really exciting. And it's also exciting to note that CNRST will be the one implementing. I urge stakeholders, work in unison in making sure that it is collaboratively adopted, because we have seen cases in Africa where you have a national instrument and none of the stakeholders want to adopt it, especially on open science and open access. We do not want to have another case like that. We want cohesive conversations, including industry, NRENs, and the various stakeholders, and not forgetting also early career researchers. They will be the ones using it. We will propose it, but it is for them to say whether they want to use it or not. So let's not ignore the early career researchers in making sure that this national strategy is adopted.
Dr. Rania Ibrahim, I don't know whether I'm still online. Dr. Ibrahim.
Yes, you hear me?
Can you just give us a 2 minutes take on this question? Thank you.
I wanted to take opportunity of this conference to invite Morocco to participate with us in making open science strategy for North Africa, as I am the lead scientist for African Open Science Platform, North Africa Regional Node. It's important to make alignment between our programs and activities in open science in North Africa, make collaboration between all organizations and individuals work in North Africa to unify our objectives and our programs to develop open science strategy for North Africa together, considering its context and its challenges also. For Morocco, they can provide funding for research and development projects focusing on open science, allocate resources for educational programs, workshops, conferences that encourage the use of open science tools among professionals and academia, support startup and companies that develop open source tools and open source programs, including geospatial technology, because geospatial technology is part of open science. And also, it's very important to establish clear policies and the guidelines that support the adoption of open science in various sectors, such as urban planning, agriculture, disaster management, invest in to develop resilient, interoperable, collaborative open science infrastructure. So I'd like to take this opportunity to engage with Morocco to work together in South Africa and to develop open science strategy. North Africa doesn't have any policies for open science, so it's important to make this with Morocco and also with international organizations like A.G.E.N.D.A and TCC and the other organizations like International Science Policy and UNESCO also. Is very important to include UNESCO in developing this strategy in open science. Thank you so much, and thank you, Dr. Thurman, for inviting me to this conference, and hoping to collaborate together and to engage in future opportunities in open science activities. Thank you.
Thank you. So my next question will be directed to Fadwa and Professor Hannah. How can national open science instruments, like the ones being worked on by the Kingdom of Morocco, shape or influence global open science norms and publishing practices, especially for greater equity and visibility of African research? Thank you. Let's try and do it 2 minutes this time.
Très bien, d'accord. Donc, je pense que les plateformes ou les instruments que nous développons au niveau de CNRST sont, comme tu parles pour les thèses ou Trouhati, sinon pour le portail des revues scientifiques marocaines, ce sont des exemples concrets que d'autres pays africains peuvent adapter et suivre pour créer leur propre modèle ouvert et leur propre politique de sciences ouvertes. Et surtout parce que ces plateformes, elles montrent qu'il est possible de mettre en place des infrastructures nationales, souveraines, ouvertes et durables, qui valorisent la production scientifique locale, qui malheureusement elle est absente ou peu représentée dans les plateformes internationales. Donc c'est intéressant de valoriser la production nationale en mettant ces infrastructures et ces plateformes. Je vais signaler juste que la science ouverte ne se limite pas comme l'a signalé Hannah tout à l'heure, et ne se limite pas aux infrastructures techniques. Elle passe aussi par des standards internationaux. Donc le CNRST est conscient de cet aspect. Donc on travaille aussi, on incite les gens à utiliser des identifiants pérennes. Donc il y a plus que 5 ans, le CNRST est membre direct de TADACIT. Donc, on attribue des DOI, des milliers de DOI aux articles des revues sur le portail des revues scientifiques marocaines et aussi à travers une belle collaboration avec A.G.E.N.D.A. Donc, on va travailler ensemble sur la création d'un consortium d'A.G.E.N.D.A. Comme ça, on incite nos chercheurs à respecter aussi ces bonnes pratiques, ces bonnes recommandations de la science ouverte.
Merci Fadwa. Je suis tout à fait d'accord. Les instruments nationaux comme les plateformes, les dispositifs qu'on est en train de mettre en place ne sont pas suffisants. Donc, c'est des leviers structurants pour refonder et co-construire une meilleure reconnaissance de la production scientifique locale, que ce soit la production scientifique en langue arabe, que ce soit la production scientifique dans le domaine des SHS qui n'est pas visible dans les bases de données internationales. Donc, je citerai l'exemple de l'Amérique latine et de Cielo, le portail des revues scientifiques Cielo, qui montre qu'il est possible de penser des politiques de sciences ouvertes à partir d'une logique de souveraineté, une logique de collaboration entre les pays, entre la région de l'Amérique latine. Donc, c'est l'exemple qu'on aimerait suivre et je salue les efforts d'A.G.E.N.D.A. dans ce sens pour fédérer les régions arabes et pouvoir mettre en place des dispositifs de toute la région arabe ou africaine. Parce qu'au lieu de suivre des modèles étrangers, ça serait bien que le Maroc et que l'Afrique essaient de tracer leur voie et de refonder les règles de la science mondiale, si on peut, ou au moins essayer. Donc, je ne parlerai pas des plateformes, mais je parlerai peut-être de la collaboration. Notre dynamisme entend pas, parce que je ne travaille plus au sein du ministère, mais je suis très active au niveau des associations et notre dynamisme au sein des réseaux internationaux et des régionaux nous permet d'avancer et de réussir ces projets. Je donne l'exemple de Creative Commons Morocco, un chapter qu'on a créé et qui nous permet d'organiser énormément de formations sur les aspects juridiques qui sont très importants quand on parle d'open access et qui sont malheureusement méconnus par la communauté scientifique. Je donne l'exemple du DOAJ aussi. Donc, en tant qu'éditrice associée, on essaie d'accompagner les éditeurs à améliorer la qualité. C'est bien de mettre des revues en open access, mais il ne faut pas oublier qu'il faut qu'on travaille aussi sur la qualité éditoriale et ça nécessite aussi des formations, un accompagnement de nos éditeurs. Et sans oublier les bibliothèques, dont je suis aussi vice-présidente de l'Association internationale francophone des bibliothécaires et documentalistes, qui est très active au niveau de la formation. Et je salue les efforts aussi de la bibliothèque Alexandrie dans ce sens. Le bibliothécaire, le professionnel de l'information, doit être formé pour accompagner toutes ces plateformes, ces dispositifs qu'on est en train de mener et de mettre en place. Merci.
Fadwa, whilst you are on it, I'll let you have the mic back. If you can briefly speak to how do we encourage and support researchers, librarians, and students to take part in open science, especially through grassroots or informal efforts? That's, I think it's yeah, that's CNRST. You want to speak? Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Nous croyons que la participation des communautés, justement les chercheurs, les étudiants, les bibliothécaires et aussi les éditeurs des revues est au cœur du succès de la science ouverte. Parce que finalement, la science ouverte est durable s'il est porté par ses acteurs eux-mêmes. Donc, nous, au CNRST, nous travaillons sur 3 ateliers. Former, accompagner, sensibiliser. Donc, nos organisations des ateliers, régulièrement des ateliers de formation sur la rédaction scientifique, sur comment publier dans des archives, des revues libre accès, comment utiliser les identifiants ORCID pour les éditeurs, comment attribuer des DOI à leurs articles, aussi comment lutter contre le plagiat. Et d'autres formations dans ce sens. Et aussi, donc on forme, le fait de former, c'est bien, mais aussi il faut outiller ces communautés. Donc on met à leur disposition des outils et aussi des plateformes concrètes. On a parlé des formations sur la lutte contre le plagiat. Donc le CNRST met à la disposition des chercheurs marocains un logiciel anti-plagiat pour qu'ils puissent analyser leurs documents et essayer de lutter contre ce fléau de plagiat. Aussi, à travers le PRSM, par exemple, donc on donne l'occasion aux lecteurs de lire gratuitement les publications locales, les publications scientifiques locales, aux auteurs pour publier gratuitement parce qu'on respecte le modèle libre accès Diamant, donc il n'y a pas de frais ni pour les auteurs ni pour les lecteurs. Donc, mais aussi pour les éditeurs, on les accompagne gratuitement dans la mise en ligne de leur plateforme technique sur nos serveurs et on les accompagne dans le respect des bonnes pratiques éditoriales, en organisation des ateliers et aussi on organise effectivement, comme l'a dit Hannah tout à l'heure, on organise des ateliers sur l'indexation des revues en collaboration avec DOAJ et autres. Donc on travaille sur ces deux aspects, la formation, mais aussi les plateformes techniques, mais aussi on essaie de renforcer les communautés de pratique, que ce soit à travers des réseaux de bibliothèques. Actuellement, on travaille sur un projet de catalogue collectif. Donc, l'idée, c'est de centraliser l'accès au fond des différentes bibliothèques de recherche scientifique dans un seul endroit. Comme on travaille on essaie de créer des comités éditoriaux, justement pour les accompagner dans tout ce qui est licence Creative Commons, lutte contre les revues prédatrices, les droits d'auteur, tout ça pour augmenter l'impact de notre production scientifique nationale. Merci.
All right. Dr. Osman, you want to say something about that?
Thank you for what you told us. It's really inspiring. Because from our role in Bibliotheca Alexandrina and for other libraries, for this part, we started with teaching some scientific methodology for the students in the university and for the postgraduate students in collaboration with the university. So you have to know first how to do the research before being a researcher. So this was the first steps. And we have enabled some webinars and some workshops for how to do your research and how to use the resources and how to use our collections. This was the first. And then we have some collaborations with the universities, and this was informal in the start, but then the students want us to do some progress in this. So we have been working on this from the last year, and this year was big progress because we introduced some workshops how to use the AI tools in your research. So, and in different disciplines. So for education, for media, for marketing, for language. So how to find the resources and how to use the AI tools and what's with subscriptions and some stakeholders that we already have some collaboration with, they enabled some subscriptions for the workshops attendees, and this was all free. So this was one of the collaborations that we did. Also, we are working on another workshop with ASRIN by the end of this year, and this is also part of how to give some advices and some informal insights for the researchers to use the open to know how to use the open science strategies. Because we are not part of the strategy as Bibliotheca Alexandrina. It's, of course, the role of the universities and the associations, but we want to be part of this. And we have this from the IFLA. If you know IFLA, the International Federation for Library Association, they encourage the open science and the role of the libraries in the open science. And of course, we are trying hard to do our role, but this is also informal. We don't have any part of the strategy because, as I told you before, we are in the back scene, but we are trying hard to be part of all the strategies that happened, and we are trying hard to if we find some thoughts like what's happening here in Morocco, we can market this and for all the countries in Africa, because I told you before that we have the BA services for Africa. We have many members, and we are also an international hub for the students from Africa. So we have like 2 students coming next month. Also in September, we have other 2 students. So part of what we told them is partly about like a lecture about the open science in Africa and situation. So something like what's happening in Morocco, we can already told them about this, to know the progress that's happening in Africa.
Thank you. So this brings us to the final set of questions, which is your priority in terms of how we can catalyze the adoption of open science in Morocco and the African continent as a whole. And I want you to respond with maybe some key message from each of you, and I'll start with Professor Toba.
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry for my voice. Okay, my key message actually, to start with Morocco, I think we are proud of, and we are taking that further together. This experience and practice, I think, will happy that it will be moved to the other countries. We are the vehicle for you for the region to exchange this. Now, in terms of let's say privacy and so on, something I have to say that. I don't want to mention specific government. The governments are so reluctant to announce that they are doing open science in a way or another. It's not. This is part of our role to convince them. It's not about having your data open and just scattered here and there. It's more about better organized. Maybe we go to the model that is as open as possible and as restricted as needed. They need to. They are. I know some ministers even are reluctant on taking open science into consideration or to announce officially that they are part of open science. So again, I can raise the question: everyone speaks open science. Everyone in the room speaks, but who is doing that actually? This is very important to recognize and to realize that it's not only about journals, about papers and publications. It's more about research data, and that's what I like from Rania Ibrahim. It's about geospatial data. It's open. We want to make it open to the community because research data, I mean, for example, the satellite images and so on, they have to be open so that it can be better analyzed, can be better, like early warning and so on. We need that data to be open so that every single researcher can have access. And the group on Earth observation, one of the most important groups that I like to work with, they want to have well-informed decision-making based on Earth observatory and so on. Earth observation data has to be open, for example. This is an example. I know I took more than time.
A take-home message in order to catalyze open science goes back to what I've been emphasizing on: cohesive, collaborative discussions. As I'd said earlier, the awareness is high, but being a double-edged sword is based on the fact that we do not have collaborative discussions. We do not know who all the stakeholders are in open science. And a fun fact, we do not even have a portal where you can identify who the open science stakeholders are on the continent. So in order to mitigate that, we need to do a stakeholder mapping. Who are these stakeholders? Whether it's at grassroots levels, early career research level, government, infrastructural partners, and then have cohesive conversations. Let's not have national instruments that are done by select stakeholders without the involvement of the various partners who could actually make it much more holistic, and that could ease in the adoption and the catalyzing of open science. This is just not only for Morocco, but this is also a message for the continent as a whole. We need to have cohesive, collaborative conversations on open science.
Moi, pour conclure, je dirais qu'il ne suffit pas, même si c'est une réussite au Maroc, mais il ne suffit pas de mettre en place des politiques au sommet, mais il faudrait vraiment changer les cultures, changer les pratiques de nos bibliothécaires, de nos chercheurs, de nos présidents d'université. Donc c'est un travail, je dirais peut-être 3 mots. On a besoin de formation, de reconnaissance. Il faudrait aussi reconnaître tout ce qui est publié en open access. Et cela suppose de changer aussi nos modes d'évaluation de la recherche scientifique. On ne peut pas exiger de nos chercheurs de publier que dans des bases de données indexées et en même temps développer l'open science et encourager tout ce qui est recherche locale pour répondre à nos priorités nationales de recherche. Donc il faut créer un équilibre entre les deux. Et enfin, peut-être intégrer les réseaux de collaboration. Je pense que c'est la clé pour pouvoir réussir les projets d'Open Science, c'est de ne pas travailler seul, mais intégrer des réseaux, soit panafricains, arabes, ou selon les communautés dont on fait partie. Et dernier mot peut-être, c'est un long combat, mais ça demande beaucoup de patience et il faut y croire dans la réussite des projets Open Science. Merci.
Donc pour moi, le message que je souhaite partager, c'est des infrastructures solides. Donc il faut renforcer les plateformes nationales pour qu'elles supportent les standards internationaux et pour garantir un accès libre, mais surtout sécurisé. Aussi, et à le volet communauté engagée, donc avec des formations et un accompagnement à travers des formations pratiques et des politiques claires, parce que finalement, on doit avoir des politiques, mais aussi les partager avec ces communautés. Et je termine par une coopération régionale. Donc déjà au niveau des plateformes, donc on doit avoir des plateformes interconnectées, mais aussi des coopérations régionales entre établissements, mais aussi entre pays.
Well, as Dr. Hanne said, Morocco is a pioneer when it comes to national open science strategies. So we will be all ears and eyes to actually learn. And we will make sure to further share that in global forums, because it's very much needed to understand how the process was in place, how all the stakeholders were involved, and what are the next steps. So we will be learning and we will be sharing out what we learned from this context. But at the same time, I wanted to stress the importance of openness in all the steps of actually developing the strategy and implementing the strategy, because it doesn't come, it's not for taken, you know. You need to be very purposeful to actually share all the steps of strategy development and implementation.
Okay, actually, you gave all the information and all the advices and recommendation, but I'll just add one word, which is a collaboration. And our job is to facilitate the research. So if we did this job good or perfect or excellent, so with this different categories, you will have the collaboration and all the assessment, all the analysis, everything that we do. And even in our meetings and in our conferences, we can discuss all the strategies and all the instruments, either regional or international, or even to imitate some instruments that we can see in Europe or in US or whatsoever strategies that we can. But since we are gonna have a strategy, we have to stick to this strategy and we follow the steps, and we have assessment after a while, and then we can update. And if a country has a strategy and this is a successful one, the others could adopt it. We don't want to reinvent the wheel, and every country starts from the start till the finish, and this takes time. And in this time, we can find like many tools and many steps taken by others. So if we follow the steps and we collaborate in the same sequence, some countries who have already strategy or who maintain success, just publish what you have and just announce it, so everyone could benefit from this and from your experience. Like what Morocco is doing now is really great, that you're sharing your experience with us. So thank you.
So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, finally, we come to the end of the National Open Science Dialogue in the Kingdom of Morocco at the 16th AAU Quadrennial General Conference. On your behalf, I want to thank Professor Yusuf Toman, Joy Owango, Professor Hanel Lehel, Fadwa El Magori, Meral Volaj, Dr. Rania Osman, and Dr. Rania Ibrahim, who join us online. My name is Ahmed Jinapo Abdullahi from Ghana, West Africa. Thank you so much.
Distinguished guests, a round of applause for our discussants. They've done so well.